Hello and welcome to Revelation Station. Today we're going to be discussing films condemned by the Legion of Decency. Now, Legion of Decency was a US Catholic organisation that reviewed films and gave them ratings based on whether they were morally objectionable or not. Now, I won't be going through all of the films because there's over 100, but I'm going to go through some of the highlights. Some of the big films they found morally objectionable. Some you may be surprised at, others you might not be. So let's have a look. Now, you've obviously got some horror films in there like Friday the 13th and The Omen. I'm kind of not surprised these films made the list. They're both quite violent. I mean, I think The Omen's quite amusing, but Friday the 13th is average, kind of boring hack and slash sort of film, not very exciting. Of course, I'm not surprised that sort of film made the list. I'm surprised there weren't more that made the list. I thought, Texas Chainsaw and things like that, and Halloween, I thought they'd make the list as well, but I can't seem to find any more of that sort of film. So I was a bit surprised there. There's also Psycho, which I guess is more of a thriller than a horror. Very good film by Alfred Hitchcock, who's one of the all-time great film directors. It's not my favourite Hitchcock film, but it is quite good. I think Rear Window or something like that is a little bit better, but very good film. Kind of not surprised it made the list, considering how violent it was and shocking at the time. There are some surprising ones though, such as From Russia with Love, the James Bond film. It's a bit surprising because I can't find any of the other Bond films on this list. I think From Russia with Love has got to be one of the better Bond films. Either that or Goldfinger is my favourite, I'm not sure. I didn't find anything too objectionable in it. I think it's quite tame, to be honest. And certainly it's not one of the sort of more violent or more shocking of the Bond films. I'm very surprised just this one was singled out. Not really sure why that was. There's also a lot of westerns on here. I was a bit annoyed at, given the fact I do generally quite like westerns, particularly Clint Eastwood westerns. There's quite a few of them on this list. You've got The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, High Plains Drifter, Outlaw Josie Wales. I mean, I really like The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, and High Plains Drifter's quite good. Outlaw Josie Wales, less so. So I'm a bit annoyed, because I do like western films. I understand why they're on here, they are quite violent, but really, do we need all these ones on here? Are they that bad? Some other films that I was quite surprised at include The Producers, the Mel Brooks comedy about the guys that make the play Springtime for Hitler to make it fail. That film, if you've seen it, you'll know what I'm on about. I think The Producers is quite an entertaining film. I mean, it's not fantastic, but I think it's quite amusing. I'm surprised it made the list. I don't think anything too offensive really happens in it, apart from the fact the title of the play in it is Springtime for Hitler. Aside from that, I don't really think there's anything that offensive in it. Also, another film you might be really surprised at was Grease. Now, I've not actually seen Grease. Maybe there is something objectionable in it. I've not seen it, so I can't really comment, but from the clips I've seen of Grease and the way people talk about it, it doesn't sound like the sort of film that I'd imagine would make this sort of list, or at least it shouldn't. Another one that's on here, A Clockwork Orange. Now, you're probably not surprised about this one. There was a lot of controversy at the time. There were death threats against Stanley Kubrick, the director, one of the all-time great directors. The film wasn't released in the UK till after his death because of the death threats. So it's a very controversial film, very violent. I still think it's a really good film though. I think it's very interesting. It's one of Kubrick's better films, and I really like Stanley Kubrick. He's got to be my favourite director, I think. 2001: A Space Odyssey is probably my favourite film. So it's an interesting list, there's a load more. I'll put a link in the description so you can have a look at some of the others. These are some of the sort of highlights though. Thanks for tuning in to Revelation Station.